Hey guys, does capitalism have you down?
Does the constant pressure to be productive get to you?
Are you tired of being a cog in the machine?
Then we invite you to be a part of the revolution against toxic productivity by embracing the useless things.
Welcome to episode 59 of the Very Unimportant People podcast.
Do less.
I'm your host, Courtney, and this week I came up with a new little morning routine.
Ooh, fun! And I'm your host, Lidia, and this week I have been living on only my phone's data, so only using Wi-Fi for absolutely necessary things, such as the podcast, such as class, and the rest of my time, I am free.
Ooh, how has it been? Has it been challenging? Has it been...
Well, it's been a little challenging, I'm not gonna lie. But also I'm starting to realize like how much of my time I spend just like kind of doing not like super productive things. And like also I found out that a lot of my time is being spent doing productive things because I found myself still pressed for time, even though I was just doing the necessities, which is school and work and like this stuff. So I was like, oh, okay, so I'm not crazy. Like I'm not just spending all my time on social media. I'm genuinely busy. So it was very like confirming. It was nice to know that like I actually do have stuff going on and I'm not just like procrastinating by watching Netflix or YouTube or something like that, although I do those things. But other than that, I mean, it's been kind of nice. Like I've been spending less time on social media because it eats up my data and I need it for more important things.
Love that.
And yeah, overall, an okay experience. I do miss having the internet, but yeah, I mean, it's okay for now. I'm running out of data though, so if I didn't have data, I would be a lot more stressed. I'd be like going to Tim Hortons, like going to Starbucks and like trying to
Are you recording the
Wi-Fi.
Podcast right now over data?
Yeah.
Oh my god, is that okay?
It's
I feel
fine.
like that's going to use a lot of data.
Yeah, maybe a little bit, but it's okay. It's worth it. And we're
Okay.
going to be getting Wi-Fi soon probably, so
I hope so.
we're figuring it out. There was like a whole situation and now we're trying to figure it out. We have to send back our router and get a new one. I don't even know what's going on anymore, to be honest, but
Being an
Wi-Fi?
adult is
it's
so
the worst.
complicated.
It's so annoying. Like, why is everything so hard? And Wi-Fi is a necessity, so I don't understand why they make it so goddamn difficult to get it. Like, I need it to live.
It's just in the air too. Like, where is
Yeah,
it? I don't.
I
Why
know.
is it so hard?
I don't understand why they can't just drop off a new router, a new modem, and then we have Wi-Fi. Like,
Why do you even need a new one?
What is the problem? Because they're rented? Like, I don't even know.
Capitalism is just
something.
the worst.
And now we have to like send it back to the company, and they're like giving us a shipping label and stuff like that, and then we have to buy another one, and we can't rent from the other company because they're using secondhand ones, so we have to buy it. So then if we want to switch internet ever, we just have a random router that no one else is going to use because they have to rent out their routers because it's not compatible with their system. It's so stupid.
It's just too much.
Yeah.
It's too much. Internet providers, it's too much.
It should be easier.
Just one
it should
router.
Be free. Like
Everyone gets a
electricity
router
should
when
be
they're
free.
bored.
Yeah.
And it just stays with you for the rest of your life.
You are assigned a router like a SIN number.
Exactly.
Just be careful.
Part of your
with
welcome
it. Never
package.
lose it. Yeah, exactly. Oh God, that'd be fantastic. So yeah,
Well,
what's your new
morning
morning routine? Thank you.
Well, I've been waking up early, and
Good for you.
I get up like an hour earlier. I make my coffee, and then I get in the car and I drive to the beach, and I walk on the beach and I watch the sunset. Sunrise, not sunset. Sunrise.
You watch the sunrise?
Sunrise in the morning.
Oh my God.
On the
What
beach.
time
And
do you
it's
wake
just
up at?
7.
What?
Like I normally wake up at 8, so it's not that
Oh.
much of a sacrifice. And like it gets me outside, it gets me walking around. It's nice to have some like fresh air in the morning. And it's like so magical to watch the sunrise in the morning.
That's so
it's just
amazing.
been so lovely. And there's so many dogs out at that time. Dogs just running on the beach.
Oh
It's
my
great.
God. They're just free in the mornings. They're just
Yeah,
running around.
That's when everyone walks their doggos. So
That's
just
so
me and the doggos.
cute.
mhm.
Running on the beach together,
Running
hand
on
in
the
hand.
I don't run,
Sunrise.
but yeah, just hanging.
That sounds really, really, really nice. That's
It's been lovely.
amazing.
10 out
You're
of
so
10
lucky
do
to have a
recommend.
place too where the sun rises right over the ocean. That's amazing. When did you decide to start doing this? And why?
On Tuesday of this week, because I saw a TikTok of somebody who woke up early and went for walks in the morning because she said it helped with her anxiety just to like get outside and get moving before she went to work. And like she also walked to the ocean. I think she was in California. And I was like, that looks so nice and peaceful. Yeah. And to like just bring your coffee with you and just like be all cozy and warm and on the beach.
I'm going to do this. That is really nice. Yeah. That sounds amazing. Oh, that's so nice. And then you can, like, in my case, I would be, like, surrounded by all the commuters and, like, people rushing to work. But I wouldn't be rushing to work. I'd be like, I'm not a part of your rat race. Yes. I just am out here for fun. Just to enjoy my life. Unlike you guys who probably woke up 20 minutes ago, crawled out of bed, and now you have to go and do some stupid desk work. Damn, that sounds amazing. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like it's helped with your anxiety?
I don't know.
Too early to tell.
Probably not, but it's nice.
Sure it's
a nice way to start the day.
Yeah. What matters is that it's helping. That it's maybe helping.
It makes me feel good for that moment in time.
Aww, you finally get to spend time at the beach. You're living our anti-capitalist dreams right now. That's crazy.
Except for the fact that I then leave the beach to go to my 9 to 5, but it's okay.
The point is, you get a couple of seconds. It's like Fight Club when they like do the fighting and then they go to their 9 to 5s. Your Fight Club is the beach.
It's the beach. It's the beach club. We don't talk about it.
No, we don't talk about the beach club. That's so cute.
That sounds nice. Shall we get into opinions?
Let's get into it, yeah.
So this week I am starting off with my opinion, and this week I'm talking about Santa, and specifically like maybe we shouldn't be lying to our kids about Santa. I personally, as like a not very festive person, err on the side of maybe we shouldn't be lying to our kids about Santa, but there are many like people who are pro lying to your kids about Santa. So I'm going to just give you some facts. I'll give you kind of both sides of the argument and everyone can come to their own conclusion, but I don't think we should be doing it.
I don't see a problem with it. I'm not going to lie. What's the issue with having kids believe in?
We'll get into it.
Okay, Scrooge, the Grinch.
First of all, I'm just going to start off with like, where did the Santa Claus tradition even come from? Because it's like, it's a Catholic holiday. Mm-hmm. There's nothing in the Bible about an old man with a beard breaking into your home and giving your children gifts. There's nothing in the Bible about that.
He magically appears. He doesn't.
He doesn't. He goes down the chimney. He literally breaks into your home.
How could he fit down the chimney without magic?
What?
It's magic.
I don't think that's part of the story.
He doesn't magically.
I think he just goes down the chimney. I don't think magic helps him get down.
Okay, fine.
So there's kind of like 4 different traditions that have all come together to create like what we understand now as the Santa Claus tradition. So the first one is Saint Nick or Saint Nicholas. This tradition can be traced back to 280 AD in Patara, which is modern day Turkey.
Cool.
He was a monk. Saint Nick was a monk, and he was admired for his piety and kindness. And it was said that he gave away all of his inherited wealth and traveled around helping the sick and poor. Oh. And the best known story was about him saving these like 3 poor sisters who were being sold into slavery or prostitution.
Okay, not sure. It was 288. They had both of those things.
And he provided their family with a dowry so that they could be married. And I'm pretty sure in the story, he puts it in their shoes, which are outside. Oh. And I don't know if any of you follow that tradition. I did sometimes as a kid where you like put shoes outside and they fill them with candy.
Yeah. I remember that. I never followed that tradition either, but I know people like who did. And I was like, that's so weird.
Yeah, right. But it comes from the Saint Nick tradition. And I think that might be where the whole stockings thing comes from as well.
Oh,
that's the connection I'm drawing in my mind to that.
For sure. Because people didn't want to put their shoes outside anymore. Maybe you lived in the city. Maybe they got wet from the snow.
Maybe just people decided it was a little gross to eat food out of your shoes.
Point.
So the second story is Father Christmas, and this is specific to like England, the UK. So it dates back to the 16th century, and it was pictured as a man wearing a green or scarlet robe, and they were lined with white fur.
Ooh, getting close.
Yep.
Getting closer to Santa.
And he represented the spirit of Christmas, and was said to bring peace, joy, good food, and wine. And he was believed to like walk around and like sprinkle the joy of Christmas everywhere on
That's
Christmas
so
Eve.
sweet.
Yeah.
Free wine? Let's go.
I mean, he didn't like, he was
baby.
more like an idea. He wasn't
I was
an
gonna
actual
say,
person.
it's so funny that like the spirit of Christmas, it's like peace, joy, love, togetherness. Like,
Good
okay, those
food,
are all
wine.
spiritual things. Wine, like get lit.
I love it.
Yeah, it's amazing. Just throw that in there. Man, they shouldn't have lost that in modern day Santa. I feel like
No.
that is one that should have stayed. Free wine.
Yes, the wine. Free wine.
Damn it.
100%. So the next one is with the Dutch, Belgium, and Swiss people. And it is the character of Sinterklaas, which if any of you are fans of The Office, you probably already know about Sinterklaas because on Christmas, Dwight comes dressed up as Sinterklaas, not Santa Claus.
Yes.
And Sinterklaas is based on the figure of Saint Nick, but like specific to those regions, and he still remains the prominent gift giver in many of their households. So they don't actually teach about Santa Claus. They teach about Sinterklaas.
Interesting.
Which I love. Yeah.
It's like the same.
It's the same-ish.
thing.
I
It
feel
just
like
sounds
it's
like you're
just Santa
saying
Claus. Yeah.
In a different language. Exactly.
100%.
That's exactly how I feel too. Sinterklaas. I like that. We translated it and made it worse.
Literally. And then there's the final tradition of the Germanic people, which is prior to Christianization. The Germanic people celebrated a midwinter event called Yule.
Oh,
which sounds familiar. Yule time, people say that.
Yes. My friend was telling me about Yule the other day, but she was using it as like a anti-Catholic kind of like spiritual roots, kind of paganist-ish thing of the Yule, and like of kind of celebrating that instead of like celebrating some sort of like Catholic-y thing.
That's kind of what it is, because it is prior to like the Christian tradition, and it was believed during this period that like supernatural and ghostly occurrences increased in frequency during this
That's
time.
so cool.
So it's kind of like hybrid Halloween and Christmas.
Oh, that's great. Hybrid Hallowmas.
And in this tradition,
Christween.
Sorry, she had to buffer for a second.
Yeah, I was. What's the other way? Hallowmas didn't work, but Christween.
Christween. Good work.
Christween.
And in the tradition, there was a god known as Wooden, who had a long white beard and a gray horse, and he rode in the sky visiting people and giving them gifts. And this literally sounds exactly like Santa.
Yeah.
So it's kind of believed that like all of these 4 traditions kind of came together and created the modern time tradition of Santa Claus, who is a jolly old man dressed in red and white who slides down your chimneys and gives your children gifts on Christmas. Yeah. And most parents keep up this lie. They lie to their kids about it and keep it up for very many years. And most often kids find out about Santa Claus not being real before their parents actually tell them.
Yeah.
Which I think is like a major point in the lying to your kids about Santa argument, because your kids learn that you blatantly lied to them about something very important for many years and denied it for many years and kept up this whole facade, like created this whole facade that this thing was real when it wasn't. And like when you're young, you trust your parents a lot. So this can be like really upsetting to a lot of kids. And also, like, the internet exists now, which I think makes it, like, a little bit more risky to be doing this. Like, because they can literally Google it.
Totally.
Is Santa real?
Santa, and it's
the
going to be like,
internet will be like, no.
Unless you have, like, a child-safe browser, then maybe it'll be like, yeah, totally.
Yeah, maybe. But, I mean, I'm pretty sure if you Google that, like, is Santa real, you'll probably get the same resources that came up when I Googled, like, lying to your kids about Santa, which is, like, how to lie to your kids about Santa.
Oh! Your kids
How
are
to
smart.
break the truth.
You can put 2 and 2 together. Oh, that's pretty sad. And then also on the opposite end of that, but on the same end of it, the kids learn to lie to their parents. Because when I found out, I did not tell my parents. I was like, what if the gifts stop coming?
It's true. And they've actually done studies at this, and that kids that are lied to by their parents are more likely to lie back to their parents. So it creates a relationship of dishonesty.
Yikes.
And it's proved to be higher levels of maladjustment, which is the inability to react successfully and satisfactorily to the demands of one's environment. So it just makes you unable to adjust to your environment. Not specifically like the Santa Claus lie, but in general, lying to your kids does damage them and does make them better liars. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
And that's like one of the biggest arguments against it is the whole like dishonesty thing. They say that the belief in Santa is something that kids grow out of, but dishonesty is not.
Oh, shit. That's painful. That burns, man. Oh, man. I wonder if kids are more likely to rebel if they were lied to about Santa.
Maybe.
Like, I'll lie too.
And Robert Feldman, who was a professor of psychology at the University of Massachusetts.
Good job. Good job with the word.
Thank you. And he's been studying lying for many years. And he says that kids actually grow into lying as they get older. They're really terrible at it in first grade. They're kind of okay at it by 7th grade. And then by college, they're amazing at it.
Yeah,
and the reason why they get so good at it is because it's modeled behavior in their parents.
Whoa, that's deep. So they've been watching their parents lie to them for their whole lives about like anything. Santa, finances, their marriage. I don't know, like how deep it goes. Deep.
I was thinking about like the Easter Bunny.
Oh, right. The Tooth Fairy. Yeah, my bad. But you know, if they're lying to them about those things, like that dishonesty, like you were saying, it carries through. Like maybe they're like, what's true? Okay, Santa's not real, but what else? Like maybe money's not real, you know? Yeah. Maybe like turning 21 and going to college isn't real either. Like, who knows?
Isn't real.
Maybe.
I wish it wasn't.
Yeah, I know, right?
And then there's another study at the University of California, San Diego campus, that found that preschoolers that had been lied to by the experimenter and then like found out that they were lied to were more likely to cheat on a test directly after.
Oh,
they found out that they were lied to and lie about it.
That's interesting.
So they would like peek at somebody else's paper and then somebody would be like, hey, did you just peek at their paper? And they'd be like, no, I didn't.
Oh my God.
So it was like immediate effects of being lied to. Finding out that you've been lied to makes you better.
Totally.
It makes it okay to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, great. Yeah. Okay, so this is the environment that I'm in. We lie in this environment. Okay.
Yeah, that's
gotcha.
Oh my God, that's such a good point. Man, I just can't stop thinking about how like I found out that Santa wasn't real and I was like, okay, I'm not going to tell my parents, but my brother found out like at the same time as me and he told them like right away.
Oh no.
I know. I was like, Oliver, what are you doing?
They're not going to give us presents anymore.
Yeah. He was like, ha ha, I found out. Yeah.
About 84% of parents in the US lie to manipulate their kids. And that's not specific to the Santa Claus thing. That is just, in general, 84% of their parents lie to their kids to manipulate them.
Oof.
Which I think is kind of weird.
It's kind of rough. Yeah, I feel like lying to manipulate them doesn't, like, make them want to do what you say any more or less. You know what I mean? Like...
And that's like also
might come back around
a huge issue that I have about the Santa Claus thing and about the Santa Claus lie is that, yes, it's like cute and fun for the magic of Christmas, but there's also a very weird aspect to it where it is directly lying to your kids to manipulate their behavior throughout the year. Because there's this whole issue of Santa is spying on your kids.
Yes.
He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake.
He knows
if creepy.
You've been bad or good. So be good for goodness sake. Dun, dun, dun.
So yes, that is very creepy.
The fear of God.
Yes.
The fear of Santa.
Yes. I literally wrote down, I said, it gives me very toxic religion vibes.
Oh!
Somebody is always watching you. And that, as I was growing up, that was the creepiest concept to me about, like, God and Santa Claus, was that somebody was always watching me. Like, I literally can remember as a child being paranoid when, like, I was alone. I did something, being like, oh, they're watching. They know that I did that.
Oh.
And, like, that's so creepy for a child.
Yeah.
Especially like an old man watching you.
Oh. Yeah.
That adds another layer to it.
The patriarchy?
Just creepy.
Oh.
I just don't trust men.
Yeah, me neither. I feel
But
like
yes,
it's
the
also
patriarchy
instilling like men are watching and like,
yes.
you know, you have to obey men and like the
yes.
man in the corner of the room is
yes.
the one who's making all the calls and who's telling you what's good and what's right and what's not.
You have to be a good girl.
Lit girl. Or the man will see.
So it's creepy. It's creepy.
So creepy.
It's creepy. And I personally think it's damaging to children. In both the religious environment and in the Santa Claus environment. If we could ruin that whole part of it, that would be lovely. And like parents always use it as a way to manipulate their children. They'll be like, don't do that because you're not gonna get presents for Christmas.
Yeah, or like you'll get coal for Christmas if you're
if you're bad,
if you did
this will
something
happen.
wrong. Yeah.
And like maybe you should just like parent your kids. I don't know.
Threaten them.
So don't threaten them with a man that's always watching them.
Yeah,
creepy.
Literally. This is like a bigger issue maybe too about like teaching them how to be integrated into society and like follow laws, for example. Like if you don't do this specifically, then you will be punished. Yeah, right? Something like that. Like teaching you that there's consequences for your actions. Although that could be a good thing, like teaching you that there's consequences if you're not like nice, or if you kick a dog then you will get coal because that's not a good person thing to do because you're harming something.
But I feel like you should just teach kids that's not a good thing to do. Like don't kick a dog, it hurts the dog.
Instead of backing it up with a threat.
Not
the threat right now is coal, but in the future the threat is jail or a fine or something like that. Like it all comes circling back.
Yeah, maybe it's like a bigger lesson on compliance because in all honesty, I'm personally, when I was a child, I was very nervous about the fact that somebody was always watching me, like Santa or God. And now that I'm an adult, I have so much anxiety about doing something wrong. Even if it's just like a U-turn on an empty street. Yeah. Terrified of doing it because I feel like somebody will see me. I'm so scared of breaking rules because I also feel like I have very bad luck, and like the times that I have broken rules, I normally get caught doing it just because I think I'm bad at doing it. Like I'm the most suspicious person ever. I'm like, because I'm so nervous about it.
Oh my god, maybe, they fucked you up.
Maybe it stems a little bit from this whole Santa Claus thing.
Totally.
And God thing. Someone's always watching you.
Of course, if that was like a big
if you're not good in every moment
in your childhood, like it's crazy that you remember the anxiety. You're like, oh yeah. Yeah, it is creepy. And at that point, it wasn't even really about the presents anymore. It was just about having someone creeping on you.
Watching me.
Yeah.
You gotta be alone sometimes, guys. You gotta have some freedom with just yourself. Some things that only you need to know.
Yes.
Not the men in the sky. And kind of like on the same thought, it also teaches children to suppress their emotions. Referencing back to some lovely carols, but you better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. I'm telling you why. If you express these completely normal range of emotions that all children have, you might get coal for Christmas. If your brother steals your toy and you get angry, instead of like teaching a child how to deal with that anger in the right way, sorry, you might get coal for Christmas.
They're like, just shut up.
Yeah, exactly. Shut the fuck up, bitch.
Don't cry.
You're gonna get coal.
Yeah.
Which is really,
wow, I never even thought about that. That is, that's kind of sad. I think that creates avoidant attachment styles if we want to really rein it back. Because if you're not allowed to express your emotions in a healthy way, and if like your emotions aren't recognized by anybody, you could just learn that it's bad to have emotions, and then you will never have any depth.
There you go. And kids have like really big emotions.
Huge.
And I don't think it's something we should be discouraging from kids. Like, I think that they should go through their emotions.
Interesting.
It's okay to have emotions, y'all.
Yeah. It's okay to throw temper tantrums every once in a while.
Yeah, it's fine.
Some kids are freaking crazy though. Some of them
are very dramatic.
Some they need the fear of God, honestly. The fear of God.
Oh no.
But it might not work. That's the thing, is that like I feel like there's also an opportunity to rebel there against like the person who's watching, because if they like doing bad things because it gives them like attention, for example, then if they're by themselves, they'll be like, okay, well, if I do this bad thing, then I'll get attention from Santa or from like the man, you know. Psychology, child psychology. I don't know.
And we kind of like caught on to this a little bit earlier, but it also teaches kids that they should do things for rewards and not because it's good or bad.
Oh, shit.
You should be good because it gets you presents, and you shouldn't be bad because it doesn't get you presents. Totally. Instead of like, you should do good things because they feel good and they're good to do. So it can kind of create like a little bit of maybe entitlement in adults and lower motivation to do good things if you're not personally getting rewarded for it. Which I think
that's a deep,
is very
evident
in our world right now.
Yes.
I think a lot of people don't like to do good things if they're not personally benefiting from them. And like,
exactly.
Oh, guys.
Some philosophers...
Santa doesn't exist anymore. So
he doesn't. So what's the point if you're not going to be rewarded?
Guys. Get over it.
Some would argue, though, that I think I learned this in high school, that like every good deed has an intrinsic reward, because even if you like, for example, if you give money to a homeless person, you're not getting anything back except gratification. Like you feel good about yourself, and so you're getting something back from it.
Yes, Lidia and I were in the same philosophy class in grade 12, and I think about this argument like probably at least once a month. Like it always comes back to me, because I'm always like, I can't do a good thing. Yeah, because I do feel good when I do good things. Right? It does make me feel good.
The thesis was that there's like no truly unselfish act of kindness. It doesn't exist, because everything is like selfish. Even if you're like, I'm doing it for someone else.
And why would they teach us that in grade 12? Because that comes back to me all the time. I'm like, this is not.
That was
I can't do a good thing.
Time in our
How do
lives.
I do a good thing?
Yeah, I don't know. You just have to accept that you're selfish, I guess.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
But you can be selfish in a way that benefits someone else.
Yeah.
So why not do both at once, you know? Two birds with one stone.
Yeah, exactly.
We can both feel good.
So sweet. See, and that's something that you learn in grade like 12, grade 11. Kids are probably unaware of it.
Yeah. And then finally, like, some kids are literally scared of Santa. First of all,
really,
the notion of a random man breaking into your house in the middle of the night can be really scary for some children.
Fair enough.
Some children aren't able to sleep because they're like, yo, a stranger's breaking into my house tonight and my parents told me about it.
Yeah.
And also, while we're on the topic, we need to stop forcing kids to sit on a strange man's lap if they don't want to. In malls, I used to work in a mall. I've seen so many parents force their kids to sit on Santa's lap for a picture while their kid is like crying and screaming. And like, from birth, you teach your child stranger danger, right?
Yeah.
And then you're like, but sit in the strange man's lap. Like, I don't think that's an instinct we need to train out of kids to be scared of the strange man.
Yeah.
So if your kid doesn't want to sit in Santa's lap, don't do it.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think maybe some parents might feel like they didn't do a good enough job of showing them that Santa is a safe person and a good person, and like he's totally fine, and like he's the only person that you can sit he's the only stranger's lap that you can sit on. And so I don't know, I think that you could probably feel like a little bit of a sense of failure where you're like, oh damn it, I haven't brainwashed my kid enough into thinking that Santa is nice and that he's the only stranger that won't hurt you. Like, darn, I have to do better next time.
That notion, like, I feel like is scary to teach into a child, that like
only one man
Santa is safe.
Yeah.
Like, what if someone just dresses up as Santa and is an unsafe person?
Oh my god, the kids are gonna run right up to him.
Pedophiles, if you're listening to this, that's not a suggestion. Just
no,
it's just a thought.
Yeah,
that if you teach your child that this person's a safe person, even if they're scared of the person, it could be dangerous. I don't know. Some kids really enjoy it, and if your kids really enjoy it, like, I'm happy for you. I'm happy that they do it. But if your kid really doesn't enjoy it, like, maybe don't force them.
Yeah, consent.
And it's okay to be scared about a man breaking into your house. or not want to hang out with a stranger. And
I'd
Santa
be
normalizes
scared.
these things.
Yeah, he does. That's so weird. And like he normalizes like hearing sounds on your roof, like the pitter patter
That's just
of
Santa.
the reindeer, and like something like coming through the chimney, and like maybe if you hear a pitter patter on the roof, it's like a robber or someone stealing your
Maybe you
satellite
should be
dish or
afraid.
something like that. Maybe tell your parents.
Yeah.
Your dad's the one on the roof, like, oh.
All right. And now some pro lying to your kids arguments. So there's not that many. So one of them is that you're not lying to them, but you're entering their world of make-believe, and some see it as an important bonding time with your kids to engage in their
Aw.
like world of magic and imagination.
Aww. Okay,
Sweet.
that's fine. That's fine. There's a
Sure.
lot of different ways you can do it, but this is one of them. Okay, I agree. I see where they're coming from. Although, like, I don't know, make believe can be literally anything. Like, it could just be like playing with your Barbies with your kid, or like
Yeah.
doing like those kinds of activities. You know, it doesn't have to be like this whole grand scheme lie.
Yeah, and I
thing.
also think that like children have really good imagination, but they're also aware of when they're like playing with their Barbies or like playing house or whatever,
Mhm.
that it is their imagination.
Yes.
They're aware that it's not reality. They understand that, but when you're lying about Santa, I personally think they don't understand that.
Because
They
it's
think
coming
it's
from
reality.
the parent. Yeah.
Yeah.
They think it's real because the parents are living in reality with the kid. Yeah, that makes sense. And they get confused and mixed up.
I saw this one like parent on TikTok actually that was talking about this, and he was talking about how with his daughter, they've kind of like done this but made sure she knows it's not real. They're like, "Hey,
Oh.
this is a story that like we were taught as a child and we're teaching it to you. We're just, we're going to engage in it and we're going to play pretend and we're going to have fun." And like
Aw.
Santa comes every year, so she's aware that it's not real, but she's still engaging in this like imagination and make believe. And I think
Yeah,
that's like
so
such a
nice.
beautiful way to bridge the two. Still
Yeah.
maintaining that trust with your child. They understand it's not real, but they're still like engaging in the magic of Christmas. So I think that's a really beautiful way to do it.
Yeah, that does sound nice. Because as adults, like, you grow out of believing in Santa, but you still want to do all the festive things. Like, you
Yeah.
can just treat your kid like a mini adult, I guess.
Exactly. Just let them know it's not reality. It's not
Yeah.
a real man. It's a pretend man.
Yeah, I like that. No need to be scared
Yeah.
of a pretend man. That's fine.
And then just to kind of settle the anxieties of any parents that are listening, research has shown that people whose parents lied to them about Santa do not have any more negative emotions towards their parents than people who did not get lied to.
Yay.
So it does not damage a relationship. It doesn't personally damage, like it doesn't damage a person forever, permanently, like
Yeah.
emotional damage. It's not one of
Emotional
those.
damage.
It's not one of those situations, but I think it is something to ponder. I think it's a weird thing that we do as a society, and I don't understand why. I think when I have kids, I don't know if I'll lie to them about Santa.
Yeah. I feel like you probably won't.
You're probably not.
Straight up.
I'll be like, guys, he's not real. We gotta have a talk.
Tell them? Would you be like, listen, don't tell the other kids in your school that he's not real, just like keep this a secret between us? Or would your kids be the ones to be like running around the playground being like, you think Santa's real? You're a baby.
No, like I wouldn't want them to like ruin other
Yeah.
children's experiences if like
So
their
be like,
parents
keep it a
had chosen
secret.
to. Yeah. Be like, I don't know.
Mhm.
I don't know what I'd say. I'm not a
Yeah.
parent yet.
No,
But
don't worry about that
It's
later.
always kind of sat weird with me, the whole notion of Santa, especially the whole notion of like the surveillance part of Santa has sat weird with me. I understand the magic of Christmas. I think that part's cool, but the rest of it, it's always been kind of weird to me, and I think we could do without.
Very good. A very
And that's
solid
my opinion.
I like it. I like it. It is creepy. Santa Claus watching you when you're sleeping, when you're
when
awake.
you're sleeping, when you're awake, what the hell?
I don't know.
What
I
to
don't know.
hick?
Does he not have other things to do? Like,
Sure.
isn't he supposed to be watching over the elves who are making your gifts?
Who's supervising them?
They're unsupervised. They're probably on break all day while he's watching. No wonder gifts come late sometimes. The elves just didn't have it in stock. Yeah.
Do you think you'll lie to your kids about Santa?
Yeah, probably. I think
so.
It's just fun. I think for the first like while I probably will, and then maybe when they start going to school, and like I kind of would like to be the one to tell them, like, listen, you know, it would be like a your adopted conversation. I'd be like, listen, we still love you the exact same. But Santa is me.
I am Santa.
I Santa. I robot. I Santa. What? I like it. Keep the magic alive, you know? I'll also lie to them about the tooth fairy for sure, because I think that's fun. I think it's fun to like sneak in and like put a toonie under the bed and be like, oh, I hope they don't wake up. Okay, hey guys, so welcome to the second half of the podcast, and this is my time to shine. So last night I was reading an anti-feminist book, maybe an anti-feminist, but maybe not, about like dating and about like, you know, how to get the man of your dreams. It was just one of those like,
change yourself.
You know, yeah, change yourself to find the man that you want, pretty much. Very not the message that the kids are receiving these days. Very much the opposite of what we are looking for as women. You know, we want to be strong, we want to be powerful, all this stuff. Anyways, it led me down a little bit of a path of like just that extreme of not being a feminist and just being like conforming to this extreme manifesto. So this section of the podcast is going to be about a piece of writing called the Scum Manifesto, and it was self-published in 1967 by our new queen. Get to know her. Her name is Valerie Solanas, and Scum is an acronym for Society for Cutting Up Men. Get 'em. So she's been described.
Yes, get 'em.
Yeah,
but also disclaimer before we start. We do not support
cutting up men.
Violence against men.
Oh, no.
Physical violence against men.
Never violence.
Disclaimer.
Violence against men. I would never. All I do is say
unless
super
they deserve
mean things.
No.
Yeah, exactly. He ran into my knife 5 times.
What are you going to do?
So she's been, yeah, but that's a good disclaimer. Don't actually like hurt people. You know, it's just an acronym. It's just about a better society without men, pretty much. So she's described as a radical feminist, right? And this is right on track. I mean, the text reads as a satire, but during that time when people were like, this is satire, right? She was like, no. This is 100%
She was like,
serious.
No, I fucking hate men.
Yeah, literally. And then a couple years later, she was like, yeah, it's satire. But I still, I don't buy it. I think she was just doing that to kind of like soften the blow a little bit, or to, I don't know. Even if it's satire, if it's not satire, I love it either way. And now, of course, we're going to go through some of the text, some iconic quotes, some things that stood out for me. But before that, it's probably worth noting that the manifesto was published in the same year that she shot Andy Warhol. And Andy Warhol, if you recognize the name, you know that he's like a famous artist. And if not, don't worry about it. He's a famous artist. He was also a famous producer, and he is well known for his pop art style. And there's this like Marilyn Monroe picture that he created, and it's like 4 different Marilyns in different colors. And that's kind of his like claim to fame. He also did like this Campbell soup thing where it's just like a bunch of different Campbell soups in like a bunch of different pop art kind of colors. If you are not sure what I'm talking about, but you know the Marilyn one, like he was super popular, super well known. So he actually survived the shooting, which is good, but she did shoot him, which is kind of fucking funny. But anyways, I'm going to try to tell this in like a chronological order. So she wrote, I know, what a lady, eh? She wrote a play called Up Your Ass, which was about a prostitute who would hustle men, but she also like hated the men and at the same time wanted to use them to climb the social ladder. And at the end of the play, she ends up killing one of the men. So she actually met Andy Warhol outside of the studio. Like, she kind of got to know his kind of circle and knew when he was coming around. She gave him the play, and he was like, wow, this is well typed, because I guess typing was a thing. So in 1967, like a typewriter. So he was like, wow, this is typed, maybe. And he was like, I'm gonna read it.
They complimented women back in the day. She wrote a creative piece, and you were like, this is well typed. You did a good job hitting the buttons.
But he was like, good job hitting the buttons. I will give this a read, because you put in the work, like, to hit the buttons and stuff like that. So
okay.
I guess he reads it, blah, blah, blah. A few weeks later, she calls him to see how it's going, and he claims that he lost the script. We later learn that the script was extremely pornographic, and Andy Warhol has been kind of on the run for releasing like nudie films, and his viewings would actually get shut down by the police. So when he read Valerie's script, he thought that it was a trap set up by the police because it was like so extreme. So he lost it, in quotations, but he probably just threw it out. She demanded money for the lost script, obviously, because she put so much time and energy into it. And yeah, exactly. And instead he gave her a speaking role in his movie that he was producing called I Am Man, and he paid her $25 for it. And I think that was a lot of money at the time, because she also got a book deal and she got paid $500. And then she also did another movie with a non-speaking role, and she got paid $50 for it. So I feel
what was the
like
time period?
Money, 1967.
Okay, 1967.
I know, inflation is crazy. We have no idea, like, where money stands.
To 2021. All right.
But that was her
$1 in 1967 was $8.30 today.
Oh,
so
wow.
That means
pretty significant.
25 times 8.35. $200.
$200 for a day of work. That kind of makes sense. I did it a day as an extra, and I got paid about $120.
You were
so
an extra?
Yeah. Yeah, I was an extra on The
cool.
Handmaid's Tale. Yeah.
Is this real?
I'm serious. I'm dead ass
When?
serious.
How do I not know this?
I don't know, like 3 years ago.
I love that show.
Yeah, I was in it. I got to see the main actors and actresses do their thing. And some of it's filmed in Toronto. It was literally filmed in like the government like square building or whatever. We walked up and down the ramp all day long. I got to wear the red robes and like the white thing. I'll send you pictures later.
Oh my god. This is crazy. How have you been keeping this secret?
I didn't realize it was a secret.
What the hell? Okay.
I swear to God, I sent you Snapchats. I don't know. Because I was the only one with my phone. Everyone else was like, they said no phones. And I was like, I have a secret pocket. So I took Snapchat. I swear I sent you them. Okay, whatever. I'll dig them up and I'll send them to you again. Don't even worry about it. My 15 seconds of fame, I'm somewhere in one of those scenes. And sometimes people like to send me like scenes from The Handmaid's Tale. They're like, is this you? But like you can never tell who anyone is.
You're wearing a hood.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, oh my God, is that you? I'm
what
like,
season?
yeah, that's
what
me.
episode? Do you know?
Season 4.
Okay.
Episode, I don't remember what episode it is, but the main girl is fighting with a black girl, and she like pushes her onto this concrete ledge thing, and she's like yelling in her face and like that kind of stuff. I don't know what else happens. It was after a hanging.
Okay.
And they got into a fight.
I'm gonna look into that. Okay.
Okay.
I will find her. I will find Lidia.
You will find me. Yeah, you probably will be able to, because at that point I had never seen the show. So, and they were just like, okay, like walk with your head down and like blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I can't see. So I was walking like this. I was like the only one walking with my head up.
You're like, this is dumb.
Yeah.
Why would I walk with my head down?
Yeah, it was rough. It was rough. And they're like, you can talk a little bit with like the people around you, but like not too much. I was like, okay. I met some really nice people, but like I never got their contact information or anything about them. So I just never met them again. Like we had a great like 8 hours, and now they're just gone forever. It's so crazy.
If you're listening to this podcast, if you were an extra on Handmaid's Tale season 4,
I was the girl with the phone.
Lydia wants to reconnect. You were the only one that could have gotten their information.
I know.
You were responsible for that.
Oh, I didn't even realize that. You're totally right. I was totally responsible. Yep.
Anyways.
My bad.
Back to your opinion. I'm sorry.
Anyways, that's okay. So, let's get into the manifesto a little bit. So, the opening lines of the Scum Manifesto very powerful. Let me dictate it for you, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Life in this society being, at best, an utter bore, and no aspect of society being at all relevant to women, there remains two civic-minded, responsible, thrill-seeking females only to overthrow the government. Wait, this makes no sense. Okay, there must be a typo in here somewhere because it doesn't. Anyways, so there remains something. Only civic-minded, responsible, thrill-seeking females. The only thing that those thrill-seeking, civic-minded, responsible females can do is overthrow the government, eliminate the money system, institute... Yes! Okay, sorry. Love her already, right?
Yeah.
Institute complete automation so that all non-creative jobs aren't done. Like, we have the technology. She had the technology in 1967 to do this shit. And she's like, why haven't we automated all the jobs yet? I don't understand. And the last point, destroy the male sex. So... She also says, she goes on to kind of explain how men are a genetic mistake and that their Y chromosome is actually just an incomplete X chromosome. And then she calls men walking abortions and emotional cripples. And so this kind of part in it, you see why people want to read it as satire, right? Instead of like legitimate stuff. So we can kind of get into it a little bit. This line, I believe, is like kind of a callback to this other existentialist philosopher, Beauvoir. She wrote this like amazing like manifesto / text called The Second Sex, where she writes about how women have been treated over the years and how they're always put in a position of the other and how like all women are othered. So they're created in what men are not. For example, the word man can mean either men or women. So the assumption is that there is man and then other. One is strong, one is weak. And then describing men as like stoic, non-emotional just means that women are no choice but to be like the emotional. And women aren't defined by anything that they're doing themselves. They're only defined in opposition to men. So what Valerie is doing here, I think, in this kind of like entire thing / in this specific one is just doing the opposite and saying that men are the incomplete ones and not women.
Yes.
Yeah.
Support.
Right? It's so good. Like the entire thing is so fucking good. It's crazy. She goes on to state that it is possible to reproduce without men and that we should begin doing that as soon as possible. She says, to quote, "We should produce only whole, complete beings, not physical defects or deficiencies, including emotional deficiencies, such as maleness." Being a man is just a deficiency in general. I know.
This manifesto is a lot.
It's insane. And she actually isn't studied in some women and gender classes because her legacy has gone down as her being like very hateful. Her writing has been called misandry, which is a new word that I learned, which is hatred of, contempt for, prejudice against men. And it's the counterpart to misogyny. So she's been up.
I think also like in a sense, labeling men as emotionless, I think as we've seen in, you know, the 2020 era, is in a way contributing to the patriarchy, because the patriarchy is like an oppressional structure that oppresses everyone and tells men that they can't have emotion and like freezes everyone into these like sex roles, whereas like men should be able to express emotion. Yeah. So I think in that sentence she is kind of reinforcing the patriarchy in a way. I agree.
It's so interesting.
I do agree with some of her points, but I don't agree with that one.
Yeah. Like she's saying they're not emotional. So yeah. She was
They're
also saying
so
that
emotional.
like the thing, she was saying that like the emotions that they are capable of, such as like anger. Yeah. I think another one was like kind of selfishness, insecurity, and like those kinds of emotions. She's not like 100%. She's like, that's not, it's emotions for sure, but it's still like emotionally deficient. Like you're still missing the whole other part of you.
Love,
empathy. She basically says that they're not capable of empathy at all. And like, she just goes off basically. Her manifesto was a booklet, and it could be sold for, it was sold for $1 and $2.50 if you were a man. You wanted to purchase it to this. I know. Is that so funny?
I love that so much.
So she goes on to say, in quotes, that a man, he is trapped in a twilight zone halfway between humans and apes, and is far worse off than the apes because, unlike the apes, he is capable of a large array of negative feelings: hate, jealousy, content, disgust, guilt, shame, doubt, and moreover, he is aware of what he is and what he isn't. Crazy. And then, okay, let's get into some more. She says this kind of she has like a whole section about sex and about like how men are at fault for like sex existing, and then also beforehand how like sex is mostly like for men and like for their own, and they're not capable of like experiencing sex, but they're just capable of only like having it pretty much. So she says that he is not an empathizer with his partner, but is obsessed with how he's doing, turning it into a performance, doing a good plumbing job. To call a man an animal is to flatter him. He is a machine, a walking dildo. No. I don't even have the words, I feel like. I'm not in women gender studies, but that's just crazy, right? Like, calling them subhuman. Calling them apes.
She really did an Uno reverse.
I see the
Uno reverse card.
Yeah, I know, right? So, since he is incomplete, since he is an incomplete female, he spends the rest of his life trying to fuse himself or to become female. This one writer, and like by chasing women, basically, this one writer, Shavisa Woods, she was like not accepting that this is legit, and she was on the side of this is parody, and here is why. She was saying that the Scum Manifesto is a masterwork of literary protest art, but it's often completely misread, meaning that people take it literally when they probably should not. And she's saying that much of it is a point-by-point rewrite of multiple of Freud's writing. And so she isn't that so cool? So some examples, some cliches in Freudian like theory and work is that there are biological accidents. I'm not sure what that is referring to. I'm assuming that he called women biological accidents, or the incomplete sex, referring to women being the incomplete sex, and instead of saying that, she's saying the opposite, that men are the incomplete sex. And then this penis envy thing, that he believes that all women want to have penises, becomes pussy envy in the Scum Manifesto, and she believes that all men are incomplete without women and they want to become women, and that there's this philosophy that by touching gold they themselves will become gold.
This reminds me of, there's this like anthropological theory that, you know how there's like an obsession around like virginity and purity for females? Is that comes from a male jealousy of the fact that a female body can create life and create humans, and males can only create things. They can only like, you know, material things, where female bodies are able to create lives.
Ooh, that's so
they
cool.
use virginity and purity as a way to control and be a part of that system, because then they can be like, if you have to be a virgin to be married, you know that the child coming out of your wife has to be your kid. Because when a female has a baby, they know it's theirs. When a male has a baby, there's like a little bit of uncertainty. So by controlling the process, they can be a part of the life making.
Oh my God. That's so crazy. Yeah, it's directly related. Like later on, she goes on to say that like men are they've kind of like put on motherhood onto the female because that's what they imagine that they would want if they were female, which I guess is kind of in relation to like if they were able to give life, then like they would probably want to be a mother or something like that. Yeah, I guess so.
They can just be a good father too.
Yeah, right. Something else kind of interesting to add to the satire, another layer of satire, is that the Society for Cutting Up Men is actually an acronym created by her producer, a man, intervening, putting his patriarchal mark on something, and the original publication was just scum, with no periods in between or anything like that. And the acronym, the explanation for it is nowhere in the text. Like she just uses the word scum to like talk about a group of women who are gonna like kind of take over the world and like all this kind of stuff, but the acronym was never in existence until the male producer. I guess so, a little bit. Yeah.
The man wants to cut up the men.
Yes. Well, that's fine. There can be sympathizers.
Wants women to want to cut up men.
Yeah, because he realizes and he acknowledges how disgusting he is.
Nice. We love a self-aware man.
I know, right? So this word scum is used as a text in reference to a certain type of woman. It refers to the empowered woman. So dominant, secure, self-confident, nasty, violent, selfish, thrill-seeking, all these women who like have free-wheeled to the limits of the society and are ready to wheel onto something far beyond what it has to offer. Very nice. So she was also saying that men are responsible for a lot of bad things in this world. And one of the bad things that they're responsible for is work. There is no human reason for money or for anyone to work more than 2 to 3 hours a week at the very most. And this is what I was saying at the beginning, too, about not all non-creative jobs, particularly all the jobs which are being done now, like almost every job that is necessary is creative, could be automated for a long time ago. And this was in the 60s, guys. This is what we've been saying. I know, right?
We've been like, why are we still doing this?
It's exhausting. But the problem is here that in a moneyless society, everyone can have like as much of the best as everything, but there are non-human male reasons for wanting to maintain the money system. Okay. And the first reason is pussy. Money, power, and status makes him more appealing, can draw in the females, with the myth that touching the female will maybe make him become more female. The second is delusion of usefulness. I'll just let that sink in.
That is like the
they
best.
Don't have any use.
I've ever heard, because it's kind of true.
Yeah, I know.
If in the nuclear family, the woman is to stay at home, take care of kids, man is to go to work, make money for family. If there's no money, what is man to do?
Man doesn't barely do anything. And like later in the manifesto, I don't think I wrote this down, but I remember it. She was saying that like men aren't actually like capable of loving their children. They're only capable of approving of them and being like, yeah, that's like that's like sweet. But I know. I was like, ah, well, she, maybe I should have said this in the beginning, but she has some daddy issues.
I could sense that a little.
Okay, good. So also leisure time terrifies the male, whereas like women have a lot of stuff to do, a lot of hobbies, and we want to engage with each other, we want to socialize, and we want to like
chill and enjoy
emotionally
life.
And chill and be leisure. Men like they can't do it. They're scared of leisure time. They feel like they need to be useful. They need to do the hustle. They're literally the propagators of hustle culture. Crazy. Third one, power and control. That was self-explanatory. I didn't write any explanation. Fourth one, it's a love substitute. So because men are not as willing to feel love and to be loved and all this love, they substitute it with gaining money unconsensually. I guess you could say that money is being gained unconsensually. You just have it. And then you have so much money. Yay! Makes up for the lack of being able to love. Yeah. The fifth one is to provide the male with a goal. Since he is incapable of enjoying the moment, a male needs something to look forward to.
I like this idea that like money has been created to like, it's almost like a pretend game with a child. Like we're just giving it to them. So that they feel like they have something to do.
Yeah.
You have a goal. There you go. There's your goal. And
goal.
us, like
That's
females, are just out here
hilarious.
chilling. We're just like, go make money. Go make the money. It's okay.
Go
And
make
then
your
we're
little
just
money.
hanging
Go
out.
get your little colorful money. I know. And we're just like,
idea.
we're living for the deeper things in life, but the men are like,
Truly.
money. So something she talks about here a little bit, it's kind of interesting because it's a little bit opposite to what our current views are on like mental health and looking for happiness. Not really mental health, but more on the aspect of like searching for happiness, right? So she says that happiness exists and likes outside of yourself. And it's achieved through interacting with others. So self-forgetfulness should be your goal, not self-absorption. The male, capable only of self-absorption, makes a virtue of irredeemable fault and sets up self-absorption not only as a good, but as a philosophical good, and thus he gets credit for being deep. Kind of interesting, but also the opposite of what we're being told right now, which is about reflecting on yourself. Happiness can only be found in yourself and not in anybody else, and you can't rely on anybody else for your happiness. But she's like, your happiness can be reliant on other people. Like, I feel happy when I'm hanging out with Courtney, when I'm doing the podcast. I enjoy it. I'm having a good time, you know? Like, I like the idea.
Like, going off of her idea, if men are only in her manifesto, this isn't a statement on real life, if men are only able to be like self-absorbed, I wonder if she's kind of, if there's like a women give and men take kind of philosophy in this sense.
Yeah, I think so.
Whereas maybe that has been translated in today's day and age of you need to focus on yourself, because if you give, someone might take and not give back. Whereas like that's not a positive situation. But for example, like this podcast, we both give, you know,
we're both
vibing and having fun. But if you're giving to somebody who's taking, then it's like bad for your mental health. So maybe it's been translated into you need to focus on yourself. But if everybody was giving, then maybe we wouldn't need to focus on ourselves.
Yeah. If society was only females, then maybe.
That's what I was saying without saying.
Let me just translate that for you guys. So in the end, she says that after the elimination of money, there will be no further need to kill men, because they will be stripped of the only power that they have over the psychologically independent females. Rational men want to be squashed, stepped on, crushed, crunched, treated as the curs, the filth that they are, and have their repulsiveness confirmed. That's a rational man. He knows his place in society.
Oh my God.
Ah!
I love this, like,
so
feminist
crazy
meets capitalist thing that was
it's
going
insane.
on. She was ahead of her time.
Yeah, she totally was. Oh, it's crazy. Or these things have been in play for so long and they've never been able to break the surface because capitalism is just that strong. Like,
So maybe the fear of communism is actually just a man thing, a fear of being useless.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no finances. If there's no gains, what am I going to do? If there's no goals, what am I going to do? How am I useful?
Like, if I'm not competing.
What do you mean? How will I get the girls?
Holy shit. The girls don't want you.
Have emotions. Have a personality.
Yeah, seriously. Fucking idiot. Walking dildo. Oh, what a burn. What a fucking burn. Oh, it's so good. That's all I'm going to tell you guys about the manifesto. Those were kind of like some main arguments, but do go read it if you get the opportunity. It's pretty short.
I will.
It's kind of the same length as, actually it's shorter than the Communist Manifesto. Also, why don't people make manifestos anymore? I never hear that word. I like it a lot.
Manifesto.
Right?
Love it.
So yeah, definitely check it out. Valerie Solanas, Scum Manifesto. 10 out of 10 would recommend. So in the end, she says that, oh, sorry, I already said that. So after all of that, let's get back to kind of her life.
Okay.
The shooting, whole thing. So that was her manifesto. And then she shot Andy Warhol afterwards. So she gets a role in Andy's play, the second one that she was in, where she got $50. Her producer gets her to sign a contract that he will produce the next books that she writes and the next works that she writes. And he'll give her $500. And she thought that this was a conspiracy with Warhol to own, censor, and suppress her work. So what she did was she went to his studio, armed,
America.
waited for him to show up, rode the elevator up with him when he did show up, shot 3 times, missed the first 2, and then the third bullet went through his lungs, spleen, liver, and esophagus. Don't ask me how that's possible.
That's so many places.
She fucked
Are those
him up
all in a line?
good. I don't know. I think it must have been
angle.
like an explosion or something like that.
Or like an angle.
Yeah, maybe an angle. Maybe he was like already kind of going down
On
to
the
dodge
side.
the first 2 bullets, and then she managed to get him on the third
That's
one. Yeah,
crazy.
something like that. I know, insane. So after the shooting, the producer was like begging her to leave because he was like, he's gonna die, like you gotta get out of here. And she did, and then she turned herself in to the police. Andy Warhol had a 5-hour surgery. He was pronounced dead once but came back to life, lived another 19 years.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I know, right? But his whole life he had to wear like this support corset for his abdomen because he just couldn't hold it up himself. I know. I know.
But probably
Fucking
mission achieved for
yeah, she probably felt pretty good about it.
yeah.
So she turned herself in, as we know. And she wanted to represent herself in court, but they deemed that she wasn't able to represent herself in court, and they sent her to get a psychological evaluation. She was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia. And she
is that
spent
what feminism is being called these days?
I apparently I know, I was so disappointed when I read that. I was like, that's some bullshit if I ever heard it. Like, you guys they the court said that she was insane, and that's kind of like, you know how you can do insanity, you can plead insanity instead of guilty not guilty, and she was just like, I'm guilty, I did it, and I'm proud. And they were like, you're insane.
Fuck yeah, I love her. I love her.
Yeah, she's awesome. And she spent the next couple of years, 3 years, at a hospital center for her mental health. And then she was also in prison for a little bit for like assault with a weapon. And then when she got out, she was a publisher for a women's liberation newsletter. And she also wrote a book. And just kind of a quote to end us off with from Miss Solanas. Someone had asked her if her manifesto was meant to be taken literally. And she said, I don't want to kill all men. I think males should be neutered or castrated so they can't mess up any more women's lives. And thank you, Valerie. Such an idol. I know, right? Such an idol. Like, oh God, I love it so much.
Like, while you were talking, I was like so shocked by the things that you were saying, like that she was saying about men. And then as I was thinking about it, I was like, these are all literally things that have been said about women.
Yeah.
Like, forever.
And she's just flipping
like,
it around.
I'm so shocked when you say it about a man. I'm like, that's awful. Like, how could you think that? But like, this is literally like the dialogue about women that happens every day. Like, we're lesser than, like, we're just walking vaginas, just here for sex, like useless,
objectified,
deficient,
objects, like,
we have no rational reasoning, like
crazy, like unable to do anything when they're PMSing, like constantly going through like hormonal imbalances.
There's so many jokes about wanting to like punch and kill women. Like, violence against women is a fucking joke in our society. It's a fun thing to do.
Yeah, literally. That's such a good point. I saw this video of this preacher the other day, and he opened up his sermon with like a joke about women. Like, the God came down and was like, I will grant you one wish, like a genie. And this guy was just like, I would like you to build a bridge across India or across the Indian Ocean because I want to see blah, 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 blah. And God was like, that's too much work. What else do you want? And then the man was like, I would like to understand my wife, and I would like to just be the best husband to her. And God was like, how many lanes do you want? 1 or 2? And that was the joke. That was the joke, because you can't understand a woman because she's insane. Is that fucked? Day to day. This is a modern day preacher. Like, modern day, guys. Like, this guy was just, oh man, I know.
So here's a lesson for any man that was listening that was like, this is awful. I feel attacked. I feel degraded. I feel worthless. I feel like these people don't care about me. This is awful.
Really, really think about that.
Open your mind.
Yeah. Really think about how you're feeling and try to experience some empathy, maybe.
I know
if
that's
you're
hard.
Almost impossible for some, according to the manifesto. But maybe I would like to add too that she's a big supporter of gay men because they are like, they're not reproducing and they're just like they're just doing their own thing. She's like we love the gay men. Like, they're a part of.
I normally assume that like hate towards men is towards like cisgendered straight men.
100%. Yeah,
that is normally the assumption. Everyone else is fine.
Yeah.
Just really don't like the cisgendered straight men.
No, they all suck. Men are stupid and I don't respect them. So yeah, interesting stuff. You know, it really like brought me back into reality that like men ain't shit, and maybe like reading these like books about how to make yourself better for a man, or like how to make yourself desirable to men. It's just not worth your time. Men are defective. They are disgusting. And they are lesser than women. We literally don't need them. I'm speaking partially for myself and for Solanas, honestly, because I agree. Sometimes I agree with some of the things she's saying, but then sometimes I'm like, that's a little mean. That's a little crazy. Like, they're still human. God, is this how men
some
feel?
Of them sometimes.
Is this how men feel all the time? I'm fucking revved. Like, I'm on top of the world, man.
Love degrading people.
Yeah. And that brings us to the end of the episode, everybody. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for listening to Courtney's opinion about how maybe we shouldn't lie to our kids about Santa, and maybe it's a little damaging in a couple of different ways. Let's rethink this in the next generation. And thank you for listening to my discovery about the Scum Manifesto. Go read it. You're gonna love it. It's fantastic. And if you want to see more of us, you can find us on Instagram at very.unimportant.people. You can also email us with any music or anything that you want to be included in the podcast, and we can share it with the rest of the fan base at hatersclickhere@gmail.com, and that's HATRS clickhere@gmail.com. You can also find us on Patreon. Patreon is where we post video segments of our podcast. We record in the video
that get cut out,
and then we have a bunch of segments that get cut out of the real one, little tangents, little conversations that we had, all this kind of stuff. Plus there's a highlights reel. You get to see our faces when we make hilarious jokes, and totally worth it. $4. There's 60 weeks of content up, so you can binge it all if you want to. So check us out on Patreon, and you can find that through the link tree in our Instagram. And also you can find us on Twitter at @VUnimportantPPL, and you can find us on TikTok. Definitely go check out our TikTok. Oh, I just remembered I haven't posted in a couple days. Go check out our TikTok. Totally worth it. It's a fun time up there. We love it. Leave us some love. And that's all for this week. Have a great